What's up, everybody? Bradley Flowers here with this week's episode of Centers of Influence. This is where we bring you interesting people and cool people in Mobile doing cool things. We've had a little bit of a break. COVID kind of got me off of my game. I think it's been about 3 or 4 weeks since we've done an episode, and I try to do one every week. Now I'm officially back in the office, although we're still taking precautionary measures and hand sanitizer, washing our hands, mask, and all that good stuff. But decided to take the mask off and break the 6 foot rule with my buddy here, Mr. Billy J. Brown, which is this week's episode. Billy, you know, for the folks out there who don't know who you are, what you're about, tell everybody the answer to those things.
Okay, well, great. Well, thank you, Bradley, for having me on here. I was hoping I'd get to see him with his mask on. Figured maybe it'd make him look a little better, but
it's an Auburn mask. So you
I'm glad he left it at home. Roll Tide. But definitely excited to be here and share my story with you. My life changed when I was 2 years old. I was in an automobile accident. Me and my family were traveling. An 18-wheeler ran into the back of the car, caught the car on fire. From there, I fell inside the gas tank. It burnt my body 65%. Third-degree burns. From that, I lost most of my fingers. It had to redo life. Went through over 100 surgeries in the next 9 months. It broke over 72 bones in my body. My neck, my back was broke, and I had to learn how to walk again, had to learn how to talk again, how to use what 3 fingers I had left. And it was really a difficult time to see who I was the day before, then wake up in an emergency room in ICU and say, "Mom, what has happened? Why did they take my fingers?" And I remember my mom, just like it was yesterday, saying, "It's going to be okay. We're going to work through this." And growing up, realizing that not everybody's always as kind as you want to be to other people, and started to become sad, depressed from it. But my mom said, "Billy, people will treat you how you want to be treated. So if you want to make a change in the world, then you've got to be the difference maker." Said you can't just hit somebody in the mouth because you don't like what they said to you, or you don't agree with what they're saying to you. She said you need to show them love and compassion and be happy when you walk in a room. We all know that person when you walk in a room that lights up a room. But we also know a person when they walk in the room, they suck all the energy.
Everybody's like, "Oh, here they come."
Here comes, negative Nancy, or we call her now on social media, "Here comes Karen." So I didn't want to be that person. I wanted to be the person that lit up the room. I wanted to be the person that energized. So I showed up the next day at school a different person, because I challenged myself, and I got a marker and went to my mirror and I wrote on my mirror, I said, "I am love, I am passion, I'm going to live with purpose." And I started living every day like that. And I quit living about me, and I started saying, what can I do to help other people? And it's amazing how once I started helping other people, my whole life started changing. How people perceived me. People wanted to start to be around me because I quit being a victim and I became victorious. And there's a huge mind shift there, especially in the times that we're dealing with right now, of having a victim mindset. We're all a victim of circumstances. Something has happened in your life. Everybody's had some kind of fire in their life. It could be a physical fire like I had. It could be an emotional, a relationship, a divorce, a bad situation that you went through that was a tough time in your life. It shifted your life. Now you've got a choice, and I had that choice. I can live in that moment, or I can learn from that moment and move forward and realize that my past doesn't equal my future. And once I made that shift in my mindset, everything changed for me. When I wanted to play sports, and they told me, Bradley, that, hey, you can't play because you're considered disabled. And my mom stood on the football field and said, well, my son doesn't play, nobody plays. And we all know you don't mess with who? You don't mess with mama. So they let me play, and I knew I wasn't going to be even though I had the good looks for a quarterback, I wasn't going to be the quarterback, I wasn't going to be the wide receiver, but I loved to hit people. I had a redheaded sister. I think her job on this earth was to try to kill me, to make me tough. She did a very good job at that. So I loved to hit, so I became a linebacker. I loved to kick, so I became a kicker. And you never know what your role is in life. I showed up every day for the 2 days. I showed up, but I knew I wasn't going to get a lot of playing time. But my senior year, we went my sophomore year, my junior year, not winning any games. Finally, late junior year, won a couple of games, but we had a really good team. Got some new coaches in. My senior year, we went undefeated, 10-0.
This is Bay Minette,
right? Bay Minette, Baldwin County High School. Last time that's happened.
Used to be the real deal Holyfield.
Used to be the real deal. But you never know the impact you make on people that are getting all the awards, people that are getting all the accolades, all Americans. You know, and I was named the Paul Bear Bryant Achievement Award winner back in that time for being overachieving, being disabled, and playing sports and having good grades. And they paid for me to go to college. And I played soccer in high school, went on to play at college. But 30 years later, I get a phone call, and it's the all-star linebacker from our football team. I didn't think he knew I was on the team. You know, he was a big guy. He was 220 pounds, which back then was a big guy. Yeah. Could run a 4.40, averaged, you know, he had 120 tackles his senior year. He was all-state, played not only in college, but went on to play professional football. He invited me to his Hall of Fame induction at Baldwin County High School. So I went, and I was like, why is this dude inviting me? And he said, Billy, he said, I would have never made Hall of Fame. I would have never done the things I did in my life if it wasn't for you. And I'm thinking, because I was your tackling dummy? You know, what did I do so special? He said, when I'd be at practice and I had broken, come to find out, he had broken all the knuckles in his hands during the season, but he never quit playing. He said, I'd look at you bleeding every day at practice and I couldn't give up. He said, so every time I'd go out there on that field, I would hit somebody. I was taking it out on them for what you were having to deal with every day. So you never know that by you living your life and being the best that you can be, somebody else is benefiting from that.
Well, I think it goes back to you never know who's watching.
That's right.
You can go so many angles with that. You know, there's the old parable of, you know, I think it's your reputation is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And there's another one that, you know, the way you act when nobody's watching is who you really are, and things like that. And I think it you know, living your life in a way that, you know, I've got to do right because other people are watching by my example, and you may not even know that they're watching. Right. Don't you agree?
That's so true. You know, so many times have you heard, you know, people say, well, I've watched you in the community. So I've watched what you've done on the sidelines.
Been watching you for a long time.
Long time. Because sometimes your biggest cheerleaders are people you don't even know.
That's right.
Also, sometimes your biggest haters
yep.
are watching you. So you've got, and a woman gave me this wisdom last year. She said there's always somebody watching to get you. So you've got to make sure that everything that you do, you're doing for the benefit of the public. That you're doing everything that you do to benefit somebody else. Because if you do it for you, that's going to catch up with you. Yep. Said make sure you're always doing the right thing, because there's always somebody looking for that one thing that you mess up, so they can call you out on it.
I think too, you know, I have something that I live by, or something that I remember, that there's two types of haters, and I don't like the word hater because I don't like the way it sounds, but that's what they are. There's two types of haters. There's the ones you know about, and the ones you don't know about. And the ones you don't know about, the secret ones, are the ones you got to watch out for.
That's true.
And those are the ones you have to act, those are the ones that are, at least the ones you know about, let you know what they are. That way you can kind of have your guard up when they're around. The ones you don't know about are the ones that are really trying to hurt you because they don't want you to know that, right? Talk a little bit about when your life changed and when everything started clicking for you. Talk about a very well-known guy that you got to know, and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, you know, and to piggyback on that, you know, it's kind of like the story of a bucket of crabs. You know, if you go and you put a bucket of crabs in a bucket and one crab tries to get out, what happens? The other crab reaches up and pulls them down. And they'll die together because they're so selfish they don't want the other one to get out. And how many times in life have you heard people say, well, their mama didn't want them to do it, or the dad didn't want them to take that job? The dad said, go get a 9-to-5 job. Don't be an entrepreneur. Don't go out and make a difference in the community. Just go work for the government. We've all been told that. And, you know, I got into real estate and had massive success. But there's always haters out there. And it's amazing how when things happen to you, you really figure out who's for you and who's against you. You know, when you're making all the money, you're paying everybody's bills, everybody loves you. But when you're not that person anymore, you quickly see who your true friends are.
That's right.
And, you know, we had Hurricane Katrina hit, and we had some houses washed away, and financially went upside down. And you know you've hit rock bottom, Bradley, when you've had to move in with your in-laws. I love my in-laws if they're watching. I just didn't love them that much to have to move in with them. So as a guy, if you need motivation, move in with your mom, mother-in-law,
Yeah.
father-in-law, and you'll get motivated. Because they're looking at you every morning in eyeballs. Now, you promise you're gonna take care of my daughter. You promise you're gonna take care of my grandson. What are you gonna do about it? That'll get you motivated.
Mhm.
But I got in this poor, pitiful me mode. I know nobody's watching's ever done that.
Yeah, right.
Oh, well, look what happened to me. But I forgot what happened to my wife. I forgot what happened to my son. So I started hanging out with the wrong people. And I don't know if you believe this or not, but do you know you become like the 3 to 5 people you hang out with the most?
You do.
If you're a drunk, what kind of people do you think you hang out with? A bunch of drunks.
That's right.
If you're a negative person, what kind of people do you hang out with?
You're gonna be negative.
But if you're positive, who you gonna hang out with?
Positive people.
If you want to make more money, who you want to hang out with?
Rich folks.
Because see, we have plenty of people in our life that give you free financial advice, but they're broke, right?
That's right.
We get that all the time. My mama would be the first one to give you free advice.
Well, and you got folks giving business advice now that have never even ran a business.
Never ran a business.
You know.
Or they did it for 6 months, and they
Right.
say, I've got it figured out. So from that, I became just in this downward spiral of losing control, losing everything. More importantly, losing my identity, who I was. I woke up every day with a negative mindset. I woke up every day paranoid. I woke up every day feeling sorry for myself. My wife looked at me and was like, dude, I don't know what you've got to do to figure it out, but you got to figure it out. You're not who I married. And I came home one night. It's kind of like in high school where you stay out past curfew and you're going to sneak back in and act like you were there before curfew. So I'm sneaking in one night. I get down the hall. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm going to get to the couch. I'm like, boy, if I can get to the couch, I'd act like I've been there since 10:30. Well, I get attacked on the way to the couch. So I'm thinking I'm being mugged. So I'm hollering for my wife. Well, finally I get to the light switch. It's my wife beating me with a broomstick. And she said, I'm going to beat you till you get what we call in the South some act right. I'm like, oh crap, she's had enough.
A little attitudinal adjustment.
She adjusted my attitude. Kind of like Willie Nelson's wife did to him. She sewed him bed sheets to the bed and beat him with a broomstick.
Mm-hmm.
But from that, I started reaching out to people, and they told me about a guy named Tony Robbins. Said, man, you need to go check this guy out. I'd never heard of him. So I found out he was going to be in Orlando. And a guy that saw more in me, and this is powerful, guys, because at the moment, I didn't see anything in me. I had given up. But a mentor saw more possibilities in me. He says, I'm going to buy you a ticket if you'll go see this guy. He said, because you're not living your best life. So I went down to Orlando, drove down, had a bag full of crackers and peanut butter, and going to sleep in my car. And I go there and I show up and I get there early. I love to be early. My mindset, if you're not 10 minutes early, you're 10 minutes late. So I show up just like today. I'm out in the parking lot.
I was late for our interview.
He was
today.
late, but I was early. That's all that matters. Because that's just how I operate. And then I showed up and I see this group of handicapped people, people that are on crutches, wheelchairs. With just my nature of having a good heart, I started just hanging out with them. Hey, do you need some water? Do you need this? One guy needed to go to the bathroom, so I rode him to the bathroom. And a lady came over. Well, they thought I worked for Tony Robbins. I'm like, no, I'm just being who I am. And a lot of that's being from the South. We just have that heart mentality to help people. The lady that worked for Tony came by. She said, hey, what's your name? I said, Billy. And she said, you're doing such a fabulous job. Whatever you need, here's a radio. Give me a call. You just hang out with them. All right, cool. So I'm there hanging out for like 3 hours. Hearing amazing stories of different people. That one lady had lost her legs in a car wreck. Another guy had a bomb that blew up on him. Well, they go to open the gate. She said, I'm going to let you take them in. They have a designated area. But since you've been such a huge help, you pick anywhere in the front section that you want to sit. Now, these are seats that are like $10,000 and above. I had the nosebleed section. So I get there, sitting with a guy next to him. Now, me and Bradley look very nice today. So if Miss Flowers, if you're watching, he knew we were going to match.
That's
So
right.
don't be hating on the drip.
My wife doesn't like this shirt.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, hey dude, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I got a little internet company. Maybe you've heard
I
of it.
forgot about this story.
And he said his name Google. Who's heard of Google? So then there's a guy that sat next to me on the right. I said, hey, what do you have? He said, oh, I have a little shooting company called Zappos. If you ever heard of Zappos. And then the guy next to him owns a clothing line called Tap Out. So here I am. I'm so broke I can't pay attention. But I'm sitting next to multi-millionaires. I'm like, man, okay. So we get started and the event's big. Tony comes out. He's like 6'8", biggest teeth I've ever seen in a human being. Look like horse teeth. Huge, deep voice, gets y'all excited, and you're dancing around. Well, nobody told me, of course, being from the South, Bible Belt, it's like, oh, it's a cult. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. You need more of the Bible. I'm like, dude, I've tried the Bible. I need more. I need some substance. So they say, take your shoes off. We're gonna go outside and walk barefoot on hot coals. I'm thinking, hold up. My feet aren't burned. Yeah, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign that waiver. So I'm thinking my feet aren't burned and I don't want to start tonight. He's like, oh, it's gonna be okay. Y'all come on. And there's like 5,000 people, so there's a lot of peer pressure. And there was a cute girl. She's gonna do it. So I'm like, well, she's going. I'm going. So son, don't tell your mom that part of that story. So we walk out and. Sure enough, we walk out and there's smoke in the distance, and I hear these drums playing. I'm like, yeah, it's a cult. They're fixing this. Little old guy from Alabama's fixing to get sacrificed. So we walk out, and there's a lady there trying to push across this gravel parking lot in a wheelchair. Well, I just grab it and just start pushing her. I was raised on a farm, so I was raised with tough love. And she looks back at me and looks back, and she gets up and walks. I'm thinking, oh God, it's a miracle. She's like, no, I've been sitting in a wheelchair for 2 years. Feeling sorry for myself, having aches and pains, and she said, I looked at you and realized, what am I complaining about? So that was my first indication that I could make a difference. So we get there, there's like 28 lanes. Well, they moved me to like 6. So I'm thinking God's like, hey dude, go get your shoes on and leave, But it's not, it was faith. I ended up in Tony's lane. This is the lane that Usher walks in, Oprah Winfrey, people that pay that $10,000. So I get up there and Tony's like, make you move. And I start across the hot coals and I see this beautiful angelic blonde. Billy, come to me. So Bradley, I'm thinking I burned to death. But I said, thank God he sent me the finest angel in heaven to get me. So what do you think I did? I went straight to her like, what's up, mama? Come to find out it was Tony's wife. I'm like, crap, I'm still alive, So I get to go backstage and meet Tony, and he encourages me to write a book that I did, Rising from the Ashes, and he sent me to a speaker's boot camp. He said, hey, I want you to go to the speaker's boot camp in Las Vegas. I'm like, I don't have no money. He said, I'll pay it. He paid $8,000 for me to go to this camp. Paid for my plane ticket to go. To stay in a mansion with 10 people. That's it, just 10 people. He said, your mind's going to be blown when you get there. I said, yeah, I'm excited. He said, no, it's not about the speaker's boot camp, but the people you're going to be next to. So I get there, and there's a lady making $38 million personal income. There's a guy worth billions of dollars, invented semiconductors. There's a lady that her ninth husband. Now, this will tell you not to ever give up. They invented something that's in everybody's cell phone. It's called a SIM card. There's another lady that invented the dragon speaking software. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
She was the design engineer for that. So I'm in there with these people, and I'm in there with a girl named Jeannie that's a blogger. At that time, back in 2010, blogging wasn't a big deal. But she was making 6 figures a month blogging. But she couldn't sit here and have a conversation between 2 people. Now, she could blog her butt off. But since then, now she travels and speaks. And so it just showed me that there was more out there. So when I came back from that, I started doing the inspirational speaking and consulting and realizing that, people are hurting. That people, want advice, they want mentors, and I just really took that as a gauntlet and a passion to see. When I wake up, and this is what I challenge myself to do every day, if I can make a difference in one life today, then I've done my job. So I don't wake up thinking about, of course, I'm like everybody else, I got stuff I got to do. But I see it as stuff I get to do. So it's a different mindset, and I got a to-do list.
It's a mindset of gratitude.
Gratitude, that's it. Be thankful for every day, because, just, what was it, a week and a half ago, my stepfather passed away, terminal cancer, but, I was able to turn a tragedy into a victory because it was a rough childhood with him. He was abusive to me, said a lot of mean things, and I didn't want to go, but my spiritual side said go. And Bradley, I was able to baptize him.
It's amazing.
He apologized to me for everything that happened. Look at the wound that would have been left if I went up there and he was the same jerk that he had always been, no harm, no foul. But God healed that wound, and then he asked me to baptize him. So it's about being obedient, being present, no matter what your personal opinion is, or your personal wounds, but showing up to be there for somebody else.
Well, and I found too, running a business like I have here, I'm constantly, I joke that I want to change my business card title to firefighter. I'm constantly getting, I'm going to have 8 problems as soon as I get back to this computer when you leave. And it's very, very, very easy. And regardless, not just in business, in anything you do, in life, it's very, very easy. You're going to have things happen throughout the day that it's your choice whether they knock you down or you tackle them and know that that's just a part of the process. And what I found is no matter how bad you think it is, it can always be worse. I've had some days where I'm like, just, oh my God, like this is the worst problem I'm dealing with, but then something worse happens. I'm like, dadgum, I wish I could go back to that, So anyway, I'm big, I'm big on positivity. I got the no negativity sign right there. I think, staying positive like you have is super, super important, but at the same time, you're going to have down moments.
Right.
It's not that a positive person doesn't have negative moments. A positive person has negative moments and then brings themselves back to positivity. Right. I think that's the key. So moving forward, last thing, talk a little bit about, you've hit you've gotten somewhat well known here recently. You'll probably downplay this, but you've built up a decent following on TikTok.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. It's kind of funny how this took off.
And we got TikTok Live right here. So
we're on TikTok Live. My son is one of my creators for TikTok.
Okay.
He's always giving me advice and critiquing things. And there's stuff that I do that he's like, Dad, that doesn't work. We was talking on the way here and he shared with me about creators. A lot of times they'll do stuff and he's like, that's stupid. That, our age, we're not interacting with that. He says, and this is what Connor told me coming over here. He says, we want to see somebody be authentic. That's probably the most powerful thing he said to me on the way over here. He said, if you look at Wendy's or Taco Bell, he said they're being playful. They get what we want. Yep. He said, instead of trying to shove it down our throat, just be authentic, be you. And that's why I created TikTok, because so many of the other stuff has became so professional and you got to have this light and that light. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that, because I was going through a time back earlier in the year, because we all go through pressure. And I said I could either give in to this pressure, or I can see this pressure as God is defining me for a great reward. So I said, let me turn my pressure that I'm dealing with right now into an outward expression to inspire other people. So I could either live in the moment, or I could push through it. And I was rereading a book called The 1 Minute Millionaire. Yep. Powerful book. 3rd time I've read this book. But anytime you get in a crunch, there's always that book you go back to. It kind of is the roadmap. It's kind of like if I will go to New York, how do I get there? Baby, I got to punch it in GPS. Even though maybe you've been there a few times.
Don't go to New York right now.
Yeah, don't go right now. But it's like when I went to Florida the other day, even though I knew where this road was, as a kid, mentally I tried to go back and we got lost. And my wife loved it, because then she had to get me out of the hole I was in. But we can't always depend on our own way of getting out of a hole. So when I went back and then I started looking at Gary Vee, which I know you're very close with. And so Gary Vee, if you're watching, you started really hammering on, be on TikTok, be authentic, be original. And I was like, okay, let me check it. And TikTok, a lot of it was kid stuff. So kids at school, I'd be at the middle school a lot because I coach soccer there, and they're doing all their dances and stuff. And one girl said, Coach, create a TikTok account. I'm like, all right, okay, I'll do one. Kind of as a joke. And then she said, all right, Coach, if you'll get, I think it was like 1,000 followers or something, we'll have a party in your room or something. So I created a TikTok like on a Monday. Then I was out during the week working. I was in Mississippi doing some property inspections. And God spoke to my heart and said, millions of people are going to hear your message. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Have you ever argued with somebody, and if you're spiritual, you argue with God? I'm like, whatever, God, you don't know what you're talking about. He's like, no, pull over now. So I'll pull over in the middle of nowhere. I'm in Hurley, Mississippi, which most of you probably have never heard of. There's a trailer across
Mississippi,
the street.
that's all you need to know.
I'm at a stop sign. I'm surprised they even have Wi-Fi signal. And I just do a quick 35-second prayer. That's it. But it's from the heart. It was authentic. So it got traction. Then it went to 10,000 views, 50,000. Now it's over 2 million views. And now from there, I make sure I'm consistent. And that's one thing Gary preaches about being consistent.
Gotta be consistent.
and changing it up. Don't always be the same thing. I do some silly stuff. Some stuff my son just shakes his head at, like, why are you doing that? But it's just to show people I'm just who I am.
Well, and you're testing too.
You're testing.
You're always constantly testing. And I think, I mean, there's a big, in every industry, but especially in my industry, which is the insurance industry, there's a big debate, you know, now, should you be on TikTok, should you not? Well, I think for two reasons. One, you know, the argument is with TikTok is though it's just a bunch of kids. Well, people used to say that about Facebook in 2008.
It used to be all the college students.
Yeah, oh, it's just a bunch of kids. I can't sell my product on Facebook, which sounds so stupid to say now. That's what people are saying about TikTok. Now, I'm not saying that TikTok is going to turn into Facebook. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is if it does turn into Facebook, it's going to benefit you if you already have 5,000 followers on there, right? The other thing is from a creative standpoint, so it's kind of like if you and I, let's say we owned a clothing company and we went to Europe for a week. Fashion comes from Europe first. Everything starts over there fashion-wise. The trends hit over there before they come to the U.S. So we would actually have a read on what the next big thing, the next big style, fashion-wise is. And there's a book over there called Better and Faster. That's what it talks about, is spotting trends. And one of the ways you spot trends is you go to bigger areas, countries, cities, and you will see things before they come to your area. Same thing with TikTok. I'll see a trend that's kind of popping on TikTok and apply that to Instagram, apply that to Facebook. So it allows you to kind of get in this content creation kind of frame of mind. I mean, that's why I was so thrilled for you when I saw that you were having success in there. I was like, man, that's the coolest thing. And I don't know there's any better guy that needs to be on TikTok than you, because you have such a positive message. And the fact that there are young people on there, what a better group to share such a positive message and inspirational story than young people.
Well, you know, I remember back when you started your insurance business, you built most of your business on Instagram. So I remember watching that.
All of it.
And I remember seeing it's just like Red Bull. Where did Red Bull come from? A guy went to China. They had this little drink they were drinking that had ginseng and all this in it, and then he came back and created Red Bull. You know, so it's all about spotting the trend. I said, you know, all right, if Gary Vee's talking about it, I think he's got enough track record to
pay attention.
But what if it's 3 months, 6 months, but you got to get in there. It's kind of like the surfer. Me and you are out surfing. Who's going to catch the best wave? Whoever's willing to get up and get on. So there's a lot of people sitting back, well, I'll see if this thing works. Well, maybe it's too late then. I'd rather go out there, put in the effort, put in the activity, and see what happens. And if not, it's not about the end result. It's not about any money. It's about, can I get on here and make a difference? Then when I get direct messages from people, you know, you saved my life.
I can only imagine.
I was going to commit suicide. I was going to leave my wife. I was going to leave my husband. I was going to run away. I mean, I get those daily. So when I see that kind of impact that's being made, that makes it all work.
Is it not a tremendous sense of responsibility when you're getting those?
Yeah.
Do you not feel that? You know, when we started our podcast, we would have people reach out, man, this episode saved my businesses. And it gave me anxiety at first because you're worried about what you're going to say next. So what you have to default to, like Connor was saying, is just be your authentic self. Everything else will work itself out. So, well, Billy, I greatly appreciate you coming on. If there's anything I can ever do for you, let me know. If folks want to buy a book or reach out to you or connect with you, where do they do that at?
Very simple, BillyJBrown.com. From there, you can see all my social medias. Same thing on Twitter, it's BillyJBrown2. But all that's on BillyJBrown.com. And what about you on TikTok? So my TikTok followers can hit you up, Bradley.
Oh, no, I don't even know what it is. Hang on. I think it's at Bradley Flowers. Let me double check that. At Bradley Flowers, that's right.
So hit him up. And Connor, what's your TikTok for all the single ladies out there? You want to share it?
No.
He said you guys had to search him out.
He's playing hard to get.
Hard to get. Single and ready to mingle.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it. Yep, absolutely. Guys, that's this week's episode of Centers of Influence. If you have a guest that you want us to have on, reach out to me. Or if you yourself want to be on the show, hit me up. We would love to interview you, anybody in the Mobile, Baldwin County area. Thanks so much.